Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for coming to your child's fourth grade back to school night. I'm Mrs. Kurtanian, and I'm going to be going through about 5 things this evening with you. So, a little bit about me. Then we'll move into classroom goals, student progress. We'll talk about curriculum and homework. And lastly, events and reminders. If you have questions about anything we talked about in this presentation, feel free to ask me at the end. If you have questions about your child particularly, please schedule a meeting with me for a later date. So it does not matter how slowly you go as long as you do not stop. This is a Confucius quote that we live by in this classroom. So we all work at different paces, but we all have the same expectations and the same goals. About the teacher, a little bit about me. This is my 9th year teaching. I previously taught kindergarten, 1st grade, 5th, and 4th for both La Cañada and El Cajon Unified. I have 2 bachelors in history and cinematic arts and a minor in screenwriting from Azus Pacific, credential through Cal State LA, and then my MEd through University of San Diego. 4th grade has to be my favorite grade that I've taught. So fun. Love these kiddos. My contact information, I'm available Monday through Friday, 7:30 to 3:30 via email and Class Dojo, though Class Dojo is probably the fastest way to get a contact with me. It's like text messaging. It dings me in real time as soon as you send the message. Class Dojo is the best way to get information from the classroom, live updates. And then soon we'll be getting into some student updates. So classroom goals, like I said, student updates. Students will have their own logins this year. Though you may be familiar with Class Dojo, they will be kind of in charge of their own learning and their own pride work. So they'll be linked to your account once you log in. And everything that they want to post that they're proud of, they could be videos, pictures, and podcasts. They can link into their personal account on Class Dojo. So it's really helpful to have that link so you can give them feedback in real time. We use Class Dojo for our houses, and you might hear students talk about this quite a lot. Our class is divided into 6 houses, each a Greek or Latin root name for a character trait. For instance, Tharos means courage. Each of these houses contain kiddos that may not hang out with each other. We're teaching life skills on collaboration and cooperation with those who have maybe differing experiences and qualities than we do, and we're expected to work together towards the accomplishment of a given task. In these houses, it's kind of creating a classroom culture to be supportive and respectful of each other, to be both leaders inside and outside of the classroom, and encourage and collaborate. Here are a list of examples of ways students can gain points. So they can gain points by showing respect, having eyes on the speaker, academic achievement, having rad responses, using good manners, things like that. But they can also lose points for obviously disrespect, being disruptive, being off task or unprepared, but also late or missing work. I don't often take away points for using the bathroom unless they're creating chaos in those facilities, which is very rare. But there are rewards that go along with this. So there's monthly reward, a trimesterly reward, and of course the end of the year reward. All right, so it's basically getting students to the goal to student lead every aspect and kind of take charge and know and kind of set expectations for themselves. So a student-led collaboration is really the goal. All right, so student progress, a little bit about that. This grading system may look familiar to most of us. On our report cards, we will have a 4 through 0. Keep in mind that a 3 meets the standard, so can do it on their own. A level 4 is going above and beyond this standard, so they're confident enough to teach someone else how to do it. So really, you won't see very many 4s unless they are going above and beyond in the classroom. We use iReady LMS system basically to help teachers to see the gaps in learning in math and reading. This helps me determine small groups instruction to be able to really hone in on the skills that they are needing work on. So it's also helps students monitor their progress throughout the year and tailors lessons to where they need to and what they're capable of doing independently. So with iReady, you'll receive a progress report with iReady with each report card. So the first one will only have one bar to compare, the second two, the third three, and then on the sides there on the right, you'll see the first testing date and the most recent testing date on the right side. This will kind of show you what your student needs more practice in. So if it says tested out, it means that they did a great job. If it says needs improvement, it means that they need to focus there. It might behoove you to work on those skills at home with them as well. So a little bit about curriculum and homework. The orange folder is very important. It needs to come with them to school every single day. This is kind of like I tell them their best bud. They don't go anywhere with it or without it. So anything on the left is supposed to be graded work. So if you see a stamp or a check mark or something like that, it means I've already seen it, already graded it, and you can keep it at home. If it's ungraded, we're still working on it in class, please keep it in the folder. All right, and then moving on here, our core literature for the year, we're gonna be doing one novel study per trimester. The first one starts in October for Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. The second one will be at the end of January, so Number of the Stars, and the third will be the third trimester, so The Tiger Rising. You can get these on Scholastic using our class code here if you prefer. If not, we do have class copies. It just helps to have a copy at home for them if they need to do homework or makeup work. And I recommend in the class, they're basically graded on whether or not they can finish a chapter book per trimester. If they can't or they're unable to answer questions appropriately for a book that they've been reading consistently, they get a grade based on comprehension, basically. So fourth grade isn't about whether we can read, although some of us are working on that still. It's about what do I remember after I'm done reading. So their goal is to get a 80% or higher. They can rent books from my library, from Fraser Park Library. They can also, like I said earlier, get a book on Scholastic. They usually have pretty good deals, but one book a trimester. We have intervention for both reading and math this year with Mrs. Hahn and Mrs. Carlson that will start after diagnostics in a couple weeks. And then homework is basically classwork that kiddos didn't finish in their allotted time. So that doesn't mean that there's nothing for them to do at home. They should always be reading 20 minutes per night, and there's always practice in gamification mode through 99 Math, Prodigy, and Bottle. Please have them work on these skills. And it is most beneficial, especially after they've been in 6 hours of schooling, to have practice in like game mode, pretty much. It's very helps them remember and be engaged in their learning. All right, last bit here is the events and reminders for the year. So student-led conferences will be the week before Thanksgiving. Look for a Calendly invite for a bunch of time slots you can sign up for. I will be sending those out about a month beforehand so you can request off work if that's something that you need to do. However, those of you who cannot do that, I'm always available for a phone conference, though this is meant to be student-led. So if you are able to request off for your child to lead you through their experience of their fourth grade year and their goals, that would be most beneficial for your child. We do have a few field trips in the works, so Fort Tejon, Borax Mines, possibly even the Natural History Museum. So those will start to happen towards the end of the second trimester, if not all in the third. So if you receive this postcard, I'm serious, Sirius Black, it will have the books that are missing from Mrs. Kurtanian's library that need to be returned or purchased to replace, which means if your student lost the books, I do expect that they purchase them and then bring those new purchased items to the office to return to Mrs. Kurtanian's library. PTSO volunteers, we're always looking for more people. You don't have to commit to every single meeting, but we do appreciate your support and your new ideas. Birthday parties are very welcome. So excited to have them, but please make sure any snacks and treats, especially drinks, are individually packaged and sealed. So please don't bring a liter item. They will come back with your child. And lastly, attendance, or one of the last items, I'm sorry, is attendance. Students get attendance rewards at the end of every month and sometimes at the end of every trimester. So if your child is sick and they're diehards, they're about to get perfect attendance for the month, you can bring them into the office to check them in for attendance and then take them home. So life happens. If there's any significant event, please make sure you let me know, hey, so-and-so isn't going to be feeling very good. We had a rough weekend. You don't need to tell me what it is, but it does help. So I'm not constantly calling on them if they feel withdrawn. And then I can always check in with you if you need me to kind of be a teammate with you on that. Keep a contact and an eye out for your child. So stay involved, ask your child how their projects are going, have them teach you what they're learning in class, and often read to them if you can at home. That definitely helps students with their vocabulary and their letter sounds. And thank you so much for listening, so much for being here. Your child and I appreciate your time.